What's up, guys and gals? Welcome back to the Nerd Castle for the next episode of The Flame in the Flood. My name is Splattercat, and I'm happy to have you here today as we hang out for a little while. We're actually doing pretty good on this playthrough. I don't think, well, pretty well if I didn't want to make the English teachers flinch out there. However, welcome back. I think that in today's episode, we're probably just going to chill for a little bit. We've got lots of supplies at the moment. There's really not a whole lot that could go wrong at this point, aside from getting bit by a wolf. So I think as long as I can steer clear of any obstacles on the river, and as long as I can eat this mulberry real fast, I'm going to eat this right now. It's about to go in my gullet. There it is. And so now that I've eaten that, we're going to clear out a little bit more space. I could purify that water, I suppose, if I really wanted to be kind of proactive about this whole thing. However, I'm feeling like that idea just doesn't bump. So let's go back and we'll move the yucca to... Why can't the yucca go to the raft? Weird. I can only move things to Aesop. Why is that? It's got empty slots on the raft right now. That's a bug. Okay, so that's not good. I'm afraid that if I move anything off here too, I'm not going to be able to put it back. So let's just keep what we have for right now. That's a little bit unfortunate. Oh, I'm not near the raft. Maybe that's why. You have to be within like a certain distance of the raft in order to load things on it. Although, in general, it seemed like it was letting me do it from wherever I wanted. But hey, there we go. Yeah, that's the problem. Some maps seem to be a little bit more forgiving about that than others. Probably put the water on there. I'll probably take the buckskin since those are not likely to be useful for a long time and throw them on the raft. Is it not gonna... Why is it not stacking? It's stacked perfectly fine in my bag. Okay. So lots of weird finicky logic taking place with the inventory right now. Obviously the game's in a rough place. Still, I'm not going to mess with it forever. I just wanted to have enough space so if we hit a shopping cart, a random wild shopping cart roaming the hills, dales, and glens of the wilderness, we'd be able to get some free stuff from it. We're actually really well stocked up right now. Like, I don't think there's a whole lot of things that are going to knock us off of our high survival horse right now. I think if I can make it in right here, we'll take another look around. I just want to craft some stuff. Being in a solid situation like this, in a survival situation, is always... I use the word situation a lot right there. Anyways, being in a good situation with your supplies when you're trying to survive, it's important because that allows you leisure, and leisure is a thing that is not to be taken lightly. Leisure allows you to play around with new ideas with no threat of actually like dying or falling off. It allows you to come up with new strategies for getting more food. It also allows you to employ more costly time strategies that you otherwise would not have available. So if you're starving to death, setting out a whole bunch of traps is not the greatest plan ever because you're starving right now. You should be eating your supplies to make sure that you're not going to die. If you've got a load of food supplies and you just don't give a damn, you can afford to spend an afternoon. What was that? Oh, that was my backpack. I thought that was the sound of a wolf galloping towards me. Got scared for a second. Oh, we need that like right now. We need that flint. That's like the missing piece of this equation. So let's throw that in right there. I don't even care what I have. We're gonna go ahead and consume some food real fast to make space. I will probably move that to my bag. I don't have room for it right now, so let me consume that. Definitely running into some inventory constraints. However, I could get around that by just not taking any more cattails. I kind of have too many of them, and so I may just get rid of these. We have plenty of food around, and there's cattails everywhere. So I don't see that as an object that I should be spending a ton of time farming out. We do, however, need this flint like right now. So I'm going to close that off. We'll take the flint out of this chest over here. Get our metamorphosed shirt all up inside of our baggie. And once we got that... Hey, there we go. She got stuck for a second. Sometimes she doesn't like to reroute in between both the mouse control and the WASD. Got that right there. Okay, nothing inside the building. It's going to be quite vacant at the moment. Got some rags on that side. That's going to be something that I can throw into other locations. If I try to... I need to make a stone knife like right now. That's going to be a major thing for us that I think will more than likely unlock a couple of other things for us to play around with. So in the tools menu, that's going to take rags, a sapling, and a flint. Let's do it. Having cleared out a little bit of space, now that we have a knife, can I equip that? Where did it go? Where did our knife go? Dude, are you for real right now? Clear space in your inventory. But our flint and everything is gone too. Oh, man, I think we just got bug bombed. I think we just got bug bombed because my flint is gone, too. I think what happened is there wasn't enough room in my inventory for it to move things around so that I could craft. And so it just deleted the parts that it wanted. And then just kind of left us high and dry. Oh, man. That's disappointing. Oh, well, what can you do? Oh, no. I guess I've got burned skin now because I walked across a fire. I don't like it when games have that mechanic. That's how I died in the long dark, too, is because when I went into craft, it moved me too close to the fire. And so when I came out of crafting, it insta-killed me. I don't know. I don't like games that have burn mechanics in them for having fires around. It's like one of those things where... just put like a box around the fire and don't let you walk over it. It's just like one of those obnoxious deaths that's going to irritate people when they get it. They're going to be like, this is bullshit, and then they're going to quit playing. I probably need aloe vera then. Is there anything I can do with it? I can consume it. Will that help? There we go. Burn skin cured. So we're good to go right there. We are, however, wet at the moment, so I think it might be a decent idea to look for any shelter. It's odd that you can't sleep inside like the random houses you run around with. I'd like to stick around a little bit longer and see if I can find that flint that I have around here because it looks like it cheated me out of it. But since it's now raining, I think I'm going to resist the urge. That's so I was wondering why it didn't pop up with all the new recipes. That would be why, because it didn't actually make the knife. It deleted it. So the next time we go around through there, we're going to have to be more careful about it. I'll try and move things around in my inventory a little bit better so that we don't get bug bombed like we did that time, because it's definitely not in our inventory anymore. Let's jump up onto the raft, and we got to find our place to rest our head for the evening because I don't want to be soaked, and I definitely don't want our temperature to be falling off anytime soon. I don't know if there's seasons or anything like that in the game just yet. We got a farmhouse over here. I've yet to see a farmhouse that allowed me to sleep at it. But in the interest of maybe getting ourselves a bit more resources, we got plenty of food right now. So if I can weasel my way around the edge of this right here, we might be able to make the farmhouse as one of the last areas we can scavenge. And actually there, it looks like we've got ourselves a school bus in here that we're going to be able to put our bed down in. So that's what I'm going to try and do. See if we can outlast this and get ourselves dried off. Not going to pick up any of the random roughage that are around. I am going to watch out while I'm here, though, for wolves or anything like that. Looks like we just got a crow. I'm going to sleep for 5 hours. That should allow us to get our physical situation squared away. Unless we get stuck. There we go. That reset it. We're good. I think you got to wait for the dog to get back, too. I don't know. It was a little bit weird. Alright, so now that the sun is out, and all of our fatigue is taken care of, we got some sumac on that side. We can make ourselves a smoke bomb with it that we could scare away wolves with, I presume. Let's search this crate for a flint or anything else that might be useful. There's the flint. And this time we got Devil's Trumpet right here. That's going to be a very, very aggressive poison that we can use to make some other good stuff too. Can we search the house over here? I don't think we can search the house on the farm. I think that's the one place you can't go with all of that. So off to the left we go. Grab ourselves some sumac, but our inventory is full. Put that Devil's Trumpet on the raft because that'll get it up and out of the way. I will probably take... Got a bunch of suspicious water. I'll more than likely move that to my bag and consume it for right now because we need both hunger, a little bit of hunger and a little bit of thirst to be taken care of. And that's going to get us there. I will probably take the yucca, move that to our bag and eat it as well because that's not normally what I carry around on Aesop's back. And what a back it is. He's capable of carrying all kinds of good little things. I'm going to give him some sticks because there's something I know about dogs. They love sticks. Every dog I've ever had loves sticks. So I'm going to move that over to my bag. I think we also, what do I need in order to make that? I need saplings. So everything that I need in order to craft this should be in my bag already. Let's give this another go, and if it fails a second time, I'm going to assume that it's not implemented yet. Yeah, it failed a second time. So we have no knife here. I'm going to stop playing around with that then, because that looks like the sort of thing that's just eating up supplies. It looks like we didn't get a knife again. So from now on, I'm just not going to fiddle with it any longer. Because we had an extra space that time and it still robbed us of our knife. And so maybe the knife's not even implemented in the game yet. That's the only other thing that I'm going to be able to say is that maybe the knife is not in the game yet and there's still like a placeholder for it, but you can't have it. That would be disappointing, because if you can't make it, why put in the placeholder yet? But I assume there's probably some reason to do so. We can make ourselves some traps if we wanted to. Oh, we do have a knife. It counts us as having the knife. That's odd. I wonder if it counts as just like a general purpose thing, that it counts as maybe... See, it's not in any of our menus right here. A spring spear trap. The spring spear trap, what that is, essentially, it's like a happy birthday special type thing, where you anchor one edge to the ground, you bend the next part back, and you're going to anchor it to the bait or whatever it is. When the prey takes the bait, it's going to unlodge. It's kind of the same thing that you're going after. It's a more complex trap, but essentially what it does is once they take the bait, it drops a spiked arm on whatever it is and impales them, and it should stick them to the ground. It's kind of like a box trap, but it's a little bit more reliable. I've never built a spring spear trap before. I've made snares, I've made box traps, and I've made figure 4 deadfalls. Never made a spring spear trap, but I've heard people talk about it. It takes a sapling and some cord. Let's make a box trap first. I guess a knife is what you would consider to be, in like a JRPG, you would call it like a key item or like a quest item. It's not in your main inventory, but it's still there. It's weird that it doesn't annotate that anywhere, though, for you. Like, I would like it. Maybe it just hasn't been implemented yet. But it'd be cool if it kind of gave you, like, a status effect called, like, knife wielding or something like that. Might be sort of cool. We got a box trap right here. If I remember right, the way that you deploy these is you've got kind of like this little quick menu that pops up over here. And where I would put it is I would put it over the exit of any normal trap. Got to be careful about your smell being on one of these, though. And we're going to jump into the hole right in front of me, huh? Let me take a box trap, and it looks like we can put it right there if we were so inclined. But seeing as all the rabbits have gone back to their holes, I don't want to do this anymore. I didn't want to do that at all. Oh, well, I guess it's going to force me to do it then. I pressed escape, and I pressed a couple of different keys in the hopes that maybe I get that to go away. Let's just wait it out then. I don't know. We'll wait here for a little while. We got sumac and some other stuff that we can play around with. So it's not that big of a deal. So I wasn't cheated out of my knife. It's a key item that isn't annotated anywhere. So I guess you have the knife now. Whatever. That's all good. I'm not going to complain about it. Sounds good to me. I'll move that to my bag. And I'd like to make a sumac trap if I can. I think the gas bomb may require a fire because we might be requiring any, like... Oh, look, we got him. Hey, we got ourselves an inventory full so we can kill rabbit in our schematics. Well, that sounds pretty good. Let's take him out then, bud. We can deploy the rabbit. When all else is lost, we must go to drastic ends. We must deploy the rabbit. That sounds so much more. It's going to be in my schematics menu. Is that going to be in tools, maybe? In materials? Kill rabbit. There it is. Down he goes. I apologize, buddy. You are now dead. We got ourselves a skinned rabbit. Oh, you got to go through all the various steps. So we got ourselves a dead rabbit right there. Well, since we're not in the 5 points, I'm going to put that all into Aesop's bag. We'll get that going. We'll make those when we get a chance later on. I think we should probably make good use of our time here now that we got sunshine out and on our shoulders. Let's go back over to this side. We'll skin the rabbit real quick. I assume that's going to give us a pelt and some meat. It's going to allow us to feed ourselves. That's going to give us... Okay, so now we got the cooked meat schematic, which is probably going to be under consumables. We can do that. We got 1 rabbit meat. Where's that all going? Can cause intestinal parasites seasoned with hunger. Rabbit meat makes for a fine outdoor meal. You want to be careful about, in this situation, you want to make sure that if you eat a rabbit when you're out in a survival situation, I know people aren't going to like this part, but you want to make sure you eat the brain and you eat the eyeballs. I know that sounds like one of those things that like a hardcore survival guy would say, but there's a reason that people will recommend this. There's a real reason, and that reason is that you can get rabbit fever. Or you can get, call it fox fever, call it rabbit fever, whatever. Call it whatever you want. But essentially it's a protein-induced fever that you can get where your brain starts to decay over the long term if you eat only protein. So if you have a diet where you're doing a lot of physical activity and you're running out and you're doing all kinds of caloric burn, but you only eat protein with no fat in it, rabbit is very, very lean. It does not have a lot of fat inside of it unless you eat the brain and the eyes. What'll happen is if you gorge yourself on protein, you can give yourself a very nasty fever. They used to call it rabbit fever, or kind of like rabbit rot, where you'll get very, very sick from eating lean protein when your body needs fat, because your brain runs on hardcore fats and random sugars and things like that. So you want to make sure that if you're going to be eating meat, in the short term, don't worry about it. And if you're going to eat a rabbit, it's a very simple affair to fry up the eyes and fry up the brain and eat those too. Easy to do. Not a thing that takes a lot of challenge. Still, some people won't know about that little caveat for eating meat. If you're eating something from, like, I don't know, in this game they've got like a wolf or something like that, but if you're eating off anything that's a little bit less lean and has a bit more fat on its bones, you won't have to worry about that as a problem. Just make sure. A lot of people in modernity have trained themselves to cut away the fat. My girlfriend and my mom both do it when they eat steaks and things like that. They cut away the fat and they don't like to eat it. I love the fat. I think the fat's delicious, so it doesn't bother me. I keep the fat with the meat. But if you're the sort of person that eats your meat very, very lean and you don't like the texture of fat, you're going to have to get over that in a survival situation. You don't have a choice. You're going to have to sort that one out. There's no way around it. There's a raft part right there. That's pretty cool. Okay, I don't think I've ever had that drop before. Inventory's full on that side. We might not make that unless I go ahead and push off the bottom, so I'm going to do that in order to be safe. We don't have any rain coming down. We don't really have any sleep concerns going for right now, so I may skip. Ooh, that was a close one right there. That was a real close one. Get out of the way of that one over there. And on this side, it looks like we got ourselves a church. Now, with the church, what we got to watch out for is that there tends to be a wolf around here. So let's drop down in. We're going to dock very shortly. And now that we find ourselves in the area, I'm going to be careful about checking this place out, because oftentimes, more oftentimes than not, there tend to be a whole bunch of bad guys around here. So we got the sumac. We've got, what is that? Can cause blood flukes. That sounds like fun. Once it's spoiled, get rid of it. Okay, so it's trash loot. We'll go ahead and discard it. I think I should probably cook up that rabbit to make sure that it doesn't spoil on me. Need to drink some water, so I'm going to drink that real fast. So that'll give us 40, put us up to 91 points of thirst that we have on us. With hunger, I'll probably start working on some of these night crawlers, because I'd like to clear that out of our inventory while we're here. Once we get those two going, I'd also like to purify a little bit more water once we get settled, but I want to make sure that the location's safe first, which is a pretty obvious thing to make sure of before you spend any amount of time at any location. Some extra rags right there. That'll be nice if we find ourselves some liquor. Got some suspicious water on that side. It looks like this location is going to be really solid for making sure that our water supply is solidified for the future. You don't want your water to be solid. If your water is solid, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that perhaps raft storage, does it only stack in twosies right there? Let's give that to Aesop. No, there we go. We can get them stacked up right there, which means that I can kind of work my way around the horn without having to do the things that I wanted to do. And maybe we got ourselves a rabbit hide right there. Do we have anything we can craft out of that? Do we find ourselves anything good? I'm going to take the corn because it'll allow us to make ash cakes. And I like to play around with any of the things that we haven't discovered yet. I assume we can make probably some rabbit mittens or maybe some buckskins out here. I had to do a thing where I actually, when I was a kid, my parents signed me up for this thing where I lived at Sutter's Fort for like a week in Sacramento. And you play the part of a settler who's out there. I don't know, it turned out okay. It's pretty cool. My dad was the village blacksmith, and he said he said he's a roofer, and he said being the blacksmith for a week sucked. Technically, he was like an apprentice blacksmith under another actor there who knew how to be a blacksmith. And he said that was a tiring job right there. He said when you weren't doing blacksmithing tasks, you were chopping firewood all day. And he said it was physical. He said it was quite physical. He said if you were trying to get physical with your job, that would be the job to take. We got a whole bunch of water right here. Let's find ourselves. I'll probably come back over in a minute. We got some aloe right there. I'll stack that up with some of the other aloe that we have too, because it has done very well for us when we needed it, when I accidentally burned myself half to death like a jackass. I think what I'd like to do next here is I'd like to rest for a little bit. I was worried for a moment or two that we might end up with a situation where, I don't know, I was worried for a minute or two that we might end up with a situation where it would start raining on us. Let me close this on down for a second. So yes, indeed, the game does appear to have a memory leak. The performance goes down over time, so now that I caught that, I know that every couple episodes when I record, I'll go ahead and I'll reset it just to make sure that we keep 60 frames per second. Oh, there's a wolf over there. Om-nomming himself on a random rabbit. Oh, and he's like in the way, too. That's not good. Well, damn, let's give him a wide berth right there. And if we can sneak around him, I would love, absolutely love. Did I pick up my snare? Did I leave that back behind? Damn it, I'm stupid. Alright, well that's going to be a major thing. Don't leave your snares behind, by the way. It's going to be something that I would advise you is a poor choice in terms of survivalism. See, it's weird that it won't stack up some of these things. Oh, that's a bandage? So the rags... Huh. The game seems to have like some weird logic thing going on with the bags where these should stack up to 5, but it won't move it around because the inventory's full. Interesting. Very, very interesting. You just got to learn all the random little things that the game doesn't like, and then once you learn those, you can work around them. It's not that big of a deal. There's some clean water right there. I think I will more than likely consume that real fast, and that's how I'm going to clear out this extra space. We'll move that to the bag. No, it still don't like that, huh? Still doesn't like that. Alright, well... Gotta find something that I can dump here. We discard that real quick, and then we'll move that to the back. Now it likes to work, so there it is. Now it's happy with me. And then if I move that to Aesop, is it going to get mad at me again? It's going to get mad at me again. Okay, move that to my bag so he's got extra space. So really, you kind of want to keep one extra space around. My assumption is because it does this on the end user level. It does this below the UI. It actually moves it into your bag, but it doesn't notate it, and then it moves it around real fast so as to create the impression that it's just moving directly in between stacks. And so because of that, it's going to be in your best interest to always make sure that there's an extra inventory space everywhere, basically. There we go. And so that was actually the roundabout way that I wanted to get that done. If I search that, that's going to be another liquor, so I'll take the liquor real fast. I don't think I'm going to take water for right now because we got a pretty solid supply. I wouldn't recommend that course of action in real life. Get as much as you humanly can, but since it's a video game, I'm not going to worry about it. It also looks like whenever you quit the game out, it restocks everything, so basically you can get a double harvest right there. In order to avoid being a cheese ball, I'm just going to leave that where it lies, and we're going to leave for right now, and it should be fine. I think I'm going to break the episode off right here, though. My name is Splattercat. Thank you for joining me at the Nerd Castle for the next episode of The Fire in the Flood. The Flame in the Flood. I apologize. Saying the wrong things right now. I am just burned out at the moment. My brain is not functioning. It is hot in here, and it is causing my mental faculties to fall off very, very quickly off a surface that I can assume is very high up in the air. I'll see you on the next episode. Hi-do, everybody.